Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Riesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Aura E. Martinez. She's a self-discovery, empowerment coach, and flight attendant, helping the outer and inner travelers who seek greater well-being and personal fulfillment to discover themselves powerfully so that they can live life to the max. She's also the founder of Live to the Max and author of the book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, Start Having the Life You Deserve. Please enjoy Aura E. Martinez. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I am here with Aura E. Martinez. Super excited to chat with you about creativity and hear all of the empowering, awesome, amazing things that you have going on and have been doing in your own life and sharing with so many people. So welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me here. It is such an honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. Super excited.
Oh.
Well, why don't you just take a couple of minutes and let our listeners know a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yes. Well, I am a self-discovery and empowerment coach, and I help the outer and inner travelers who seek greater well-being and personal fulfillment. Yes. And
I love
personal
it.
fulfillment to discover themselves powerfully so that they can live life to the max. And I mix in the inner and outer travelers because apart from being a self-discovery and empowerment coach, I'm also a flight attendant.
Oh,
Yes. And so that has provided me with the beautiful opportunity, not only of seeing the world, I saw a much more, and I learned about a much more important world that I think so many of us tend to disregard. And that's the place of greater well-being. That's the place of personal fulfillment. And that place is ourselves.
I love it.
Yes. And I'm also the author of the book, Creating a Lifetime of Wellness, Start Having the Life You Deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And this past May, I just published the second book, which is a journal, it is based on the first book, but it is a journal that goes over all the areas of the life that the book covers. So it includes a sleep diary. It includes a food diary. You really dive deep learning about your needs. Yes, because we need to be doing that inner journey. It's so important.
It is so important. And that's amazing. I love that 2 books down and more to come. And, and I love the travel. And I miss traveling so much in times of the pandemic and COVID. And I can imagine as a flight attendant, you not only have traveled to amazing places, but also met amazing people on these travels. And I love it. I think it's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing all of it. And it sounds like all of the things that you're doing or have done have a truly creative quality to them. So I'm really excited to chat with you a little bit more about creativity.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to dive right into asking you questions. When you think about being creative, what does it mean to be creative to you?
Creativity to me means connection. It means uniqueness. It means authenticity. It means resourcefulness. And the reason why I say first connection is because it's so important for us to bring out the creativity within us. We need to be connected with ourselves. Because from that place, you're going to be able to bring out your own uniqueness, your own flavor to this world. From that place, you're going to be able to then live a life that is authentic. People are going to feel your authenticity. And whether we realize it or not, in life, we need to be resourceful. And resourcefulness, yes, resourcefulness requires creativity.
Mm-hmm.
It requires it because the lack of creativity, I mean, it keeps us stuck.
Yeah.
It keeps us stuck. And so this is why I say that it is so important for us to be connected first.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to really be creative, be connected first. Get to know yourself, get to understand yourself. What is it that you like, what you don't like, what you feel called to be doing? Because from there, you're going to bring out your own uniqueness, your own flavor. And for anybody listening to this, that they're wondering, okay, I don't think there's anything unique about me. Dig a little deeper.
Yes.
Yes. Just like every country that we travel to has its own uniqueness, its own flavor. I mean, you go to Europe, not one country is the same. And so is the United States. So is each and every one of us. So it's time that we understand what that is. Because from that point, then we can live a life that is authentic.
Oh my God, I love it. That connection, connecting to ourself, authenticity, finding your unique flavor. I just love all the images that show up with those words. It's amazing. Yes. And so true that finding that connection to yourself so you then can share it with other people or whatever it is you're working on or creating or parenting or whatever it is. So having that connection to self is such a gift and so foundational in so many aspects of our life, but creativity as well. And so I love that you brought that up and brought that into what it is to be creative.
Yes. And even to navigate, if you think about it, even to navigate turbulent times, because I mean, let's keep it real here. Just like a plane, when we're going to our destination, there's going to be turbulence along the way. I mean, you may be lucky that there may be no turbulence, but usually there is. Life is like that as well. And so the way we're able to, I wouldn't even say endure, but to be able to navigate through that without having to throw up, without feeling sick. That's just the analogy that I'm utilizing to say, without us going crazy, without us living in any low vibration. We need that creativity.
Yeah.
We need it.
Yes, especially right now. Well, things are very different. Heading into those holidays, they're gonna be different. How do we find that creativity to engage with our situation and the quote unquote turbulence the pandemic has thrown into our life?
Yes. Oh, yes. We need that creativity in our life. We need it. But I think the best way to access it truly is getting connected. Because when we think, sometimes we think and we make the mistake and sometimes it works but many times it doesn't. We think that by doing something exactly the way someone else does it, I mean, it works for a lot of things, but for other things it doesn't. And so if you want to get to that place of life where you feel good, where you feel alive, you got to get connected so you can get to that creativity that is so unique to you.
Oh, yes. I love it. I want more of it. Yay. But as we're talking about creativity and, you brought up turbulence, I imagine that challenges and blocks you have probably experienced, people experience them when it comes to creativity. And I wonder if you can share some of the blocks or challenges that you've experienced with creativity and how you navigate those.
Well, one of the biggest blocks for me was self-doubt. Self-doubt.
Yeah.
And whenever we have self-doubt, that is going to block your creativity big time. So I remember I would get downloads, I would get ideas, I would get inspirations, and I'm like, oh no, I don't think I have what it takes to do this. Oh no, that sounds too crazy for me to do, because I would want so much and it sounded so, well, it seemed so big for me. So the way I navigated through that was I needed to do some unpacking. I needed to do some unpacking. So I needed to do the journey within. And it was when I did the journey within to understand, okay, where is this coming from? Why am I having this self-doubt? Because self-doubt was eating up my self-esteem. It was eating up my self-worth. So when I did that unpacking, that I opened that luggage, here I am using a lot of metaphors, right?
Yeah. It's all good.
But seriously, it is so important that we do the unpacking so that we can see, okay, this certainly doesn't belong to me. I don't know who it belongs to, that they put it in my suitcase, but it needs to go. It needs to go. Okay, where did this come from? Why did I wear this for too long? Because when you do that processing, that's when you're able to sort out what's yours and what isn't. See, many times in our life, we are walking and living other people's truths, other people's beliefs, other people's thoughts. It's not even our own.
Yeah.
And so this is why, if you really want to unblock your creativity, it's going to be very important that you discover what that block is and do the unpacking. So that, for me, it really helped a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I love the metaphor of unpacking and the suitcase. It brings such a vivid visual. You know, we've all packed a suitcase before and unpacked a suitcase, and that's very tangible. That's something you can do. But when you're speaking, you know, unpacking energetic experiences or stories that we've been telling ourselves for years and years and years, or stories that other people have been telling us that we buy into and believe. So taking the time to unpack and sift through and tease apart so we can distill that information down and say, oh yeah, that's mine. And I'm going to work on that. No, I can chuck the rest. So what a great metaphor to use, but also make it really tangible of like, yeah, we're going to unpack it. It doesn't sound overwhelming. I mean,
No.
yeah, it's something that you can do.
It's fun, actually. See, I think that when we look at the unpacking within, the unpacking of what is going on within, we look at it as, oh my God, this is too heavy. No, it's not. It's actually so freeing. Just imagine this. If you're carrying 2 backpacks and they're heavy, and a purse and another luggage that is heavy, how are you going to be walking in life? You're going to be all hunchback, all tired. Isn't it fun when we start saying, okay, I don't want this. Okay, yes, this I want to keep because it still looks good on me. Okay, this, like you said, I'm going to work on. So it's time that we start looking at the inner unpacking in a fun way. Ooh, get curious.
Yeah.
Where's this coming from? Oh, so that's where it came from. Because when we start looking at things from a place of curiosity, where did this come from? Ooh, I didn't know this about me. Ooh, I'm telling you, it becomes an experience and not heaviness.
That's such a great reminder, that curiosity, to hold curiosity, be curious about what things are coming up and how you're unpacking them. Because it does, you're right. It does hold that, you know, beginner's mind space of, you know, I can show up with a beginner's mind and learn something new, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming or all consuming. I can see it and send it on its way if it's no longer serving me.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that. Yeah, I think it's really great reminders and some fun tips and tools. And for someone who has maybe never unpacked anything in their life, what might be a couple early beginner steps that they might do or use?
I would say if there's any resistance, ask yourself, where is that resistance coming from? Where is that fear coming from? And in life, sometimes as human beings, it takes us sometimes to be in such pain to be like, you know what? No, I'm gonna really, work on this. So ask yourself, what is it gonna cost you to not do the unpacking? What is it going to
Great
cost you?
question.
Yeah, because I think from that perspective, then we can trigger our mind and our heart to get to a place where it just feels so painful to be in that place where we do not unpack, that we can then find the courage to be like, you know what? I'm going to have fun with this. I'm going to do some unpacking. We don't have to necessarily wait. So many times we wait until something is so painful for us to then do the unpacking. Why don't you ask yourself now, what is this costing me to remain in this situation, or to not have the things that I want? We're either getting away from pain or towards pleasure. So if you really want whatever it is that you want, how badly do you want it? And how much is it going to cost you to remain where you are?
Yeah. Great tips and tools to start that journey. I love it. Thank you for sharing those.
You're welcome.
You strike me as someone who is inspired by lots of things and traveling. And I wonder if you could share a few of the things, people or who or what inspires you these days.
What I'm about to say seems so like, really? But you know what? I have to share this because it's going to be very helpful for those listening to this podcast. What inspires me now more than anything is Aura Elena Martinez, the version of me that still yet has not manifested, but I know it will. And to get to that point, to me, okay, I'm gonna back it up. Before I even say that, yeah, let me back it up.
Yeah.
I think that it's nice to have people that we feel inspired by and that we want to emulate, want to follow. There's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes, if we are in a place where we feel so disempowered, that person that we admire and the qualities that we admire in that person can seem so far from who we are. So if we can find that picture, that image of that alter you, that version of you that you admire, but it's you though, but it's you. That to me is what inspires me to keep moving forward. Even when I feel fearful to do something, keep moving forward, because I still remember that Aura Elena Martinez.
Yes.
Yes. So believe it or not, that is what inspires me now more than ever to be creative, to be the aura that I know I'm capable of being. I keep that image of me right in the forefront. And I actually have a picture of me when I was 112 pounds. I looked so good then. So I like look at her like, look what you're capable of. But the reason why, it's not because of the pounds. It's because of the person that I had to become to be that person.
Yeah. Nice. I love it. It's what a gift to inspire yourself and be the person you are inspired by. I mean, I think, there's lots of us. I mean, I look outside of myself as well as inside of myself for inspiration. And I think they're both equally important and equally serve us. So I love it. In different times in our lives, different things inspire us. And what a beautiful gift that you are stepping into more of your own inspiration, self-inspiration. I love it.
Yes. and I love how you said that different kinds of inspiration serves us in different times. That is so, so true. So I think for anybody that's listening to this podcast, look for what inspires you at this very moment. So if it is someone else, then go for it. Utilize that person as your inspiration. I'm getting tongue-tied here. I get tongue-tied at times because I speak different languages, by the way. So I do. So one thing to remember, anybody that we feel inspired by, that we admire, those very qualities that we see in that person, they're also within us.
That's such a great reminder. Absolutely. Yes. Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. To remember that it's a mirror. we're seeing those aspects in someone else, and it's reflecting that we have them as well. We just might have to dig a little bit deeper or unpack a little bit more to find them in ourselves. So great reminder and tips and tools. I love all of them. So much fun. Yeah, you said you speak multiple languages. That in and of itself is a creative expression and creative experience. And I am so curious. You just strike me as such a vibrant human being. And as a child, I can only imagine that that was also a part of your expression. When you think of, being a kid or early memories, what's your earliest memory of being creative?
I have two in particular. And what I'm about to share is going to be, I feel, so useful for those that are listening right now. So the first one is, and I don't have any recollection of this, my mom told me about this, and there's even a video of me doing this. So she would tell me that she didn't understand how is it that when I would listen to music, I would listen to the beat and I already knew what move to make. I was like, really? Yeah, you were such a good dancer. And it's like, where did that come from? That's one. And the second one was, and this one also I don't recall because I was so young. My mom told me that I would watch this Japanese show series and that I would sing the lyrics of the song of the show. And my mom would be like, okay, do you know what they're saying? And that I said, yes. Now, you're going to see how this connects to adulthood and how useful it is that we connect with ourselves and connect to our childhood to access that creativity. So at the age of 18, I was studying Italian. And actually, most of the Italian that I know has been on my own that I've studied it. And I had to use a lot of creativity to even master that language. And so I went back to my childhood-like ways to learn the language. So one of the things that I did, I remember watching cartoons. I had no idea what they were saying in Italian. I learned so many words watching cartoons. And then I remember watching more advanced stuff, like movie-like stuff. I had no idea what they were talking about, but I learned so much. I mean, the Italian family that hosted me a year later, they were impressed how in a matter of months I was able to write a whole letter in Italian. But that's because I would go to Staples, I would buy the those cut out alphabets that in school they would use at boards. I would use that, and behind it I would write how is it that you pronounce that letter. So B, I mean, if I told you all the things I did, you would be like, oh my God, yeah, A, B, C, D, like all of it. And so that's how I was able to use the creativity to master a language. And I think that if we want to tap into our own creativity, think back when you were a child. Children are amazing.
Oh,
we
yeah.
are amazing as children.
Absolutely. I know. I love hearing everyone's earliest memory of being creative and that reminder that it's still a part of us. We get to tap back into it and use that as adults or young adults, older adults, moving through our life, and remember that we did have some creativity. Even if we don't feel like we're creative in this moment today, there have been periods in our life where creativity was abundant and all over, happening all over.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I love it. And you are in New York, and I imagine there's quite a community that you have. I know when I lived in New York, there, it was just the community of my neighborhood and the building that I lived in. And so I imagine not only do you have that, but a bigger community with the people that you work with and teach. And I'm curious how your community impacts or influences your creativity.
Well, for me, both ways. So growing up, because I grew up in the South Bronx, and back in the 80s, you know. And so,
Different time
yeah,
in the
different
Bronx in the
time.
80s.
Yes. And so when you grow up, and mind you, I'm so grateful to grow up where I grew up because it's made me into who I am. But for anybody that's listening, that they're probably in an environment or growing up in an environment that doesn't resonate with who they are, or doesn't necessarily allow them to tap into their creativity, that can stop you from even seeing what you're capable of doing and being. So when you grow up in a community that is considered like low income and stuff, you don't have the same kind of resources. Because I always was great with languages. Didn't learn languages until 18.
Yeah.
Because I went to college. So it's that whole analogy of environment versus what is it that they call it in psychology?
The nature versus
yes.
nurture. Yeah.
Yes. So you could have a talent for something, but if you don't have that environment to nurture it, you don't even tap into that creativity. So that was when I was younger. So as an adult, of course, because as an adult, we need to remember that we don't need to necessarily allow where we grew up or our environment or any of that to influence us to a degree that it impacts us, but not in a good way. We can make choices as an adult. So once I was in college and I was learning Italian, I mean, New York is, it's a melting pot. So I'm lucky enough that there's a library that offers like books in different languages. This is just an example. So being in New York City has allowed me to look at life differently, to see the opportunities, to see what's available for me, to have even tolerance for what's different from me.
Yeah.
So I appreciate both contrast, and both, I mean, the environment can impact you in a good way or in a bad way when it comes to creativity, meaning that it can stop you from being creative or it can make you be more creative. So that has been my experience.
Nice. I love it. I know when I would ride the subway and hear 5 different languages spoken and different, more traditional dress or clothing that people would wear, that I just would sit there and soak it all up because it felt like such a beautiful experience and gift to be a part of and witness. And so, yeah. And to also know that all of that is in this country and in this one city, that you can find all of it there. I think that's amazing. And I look forward to the time when more of our cities look that way and have more diversity and more inclusivity and language and culture. Not that others don't, and we can always use more.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, when you think about kind of the everyday things that you do in your life and everyday issues that come up, what are some everyday issues that you've had to use creativity to solve?
Well, I use creativity to master my mind.
Oh, say more.
Yes. So, I mean, who doesn't have moments where they're either exhausted? And so when we're exhausted, we're not we're not ourselves. I already know myself to a degree that I know what I need in the morning. So, and this is why knowing yourself is so important. So I don't know about you or anybody here listening, but in the morning I tend to be pretty slow. So I know that if I have to attend something or go somewhere, I need to wake up a little more earlier just so I can connect with me and get myself connected to what I'm feeling, what's going on. And if I'm still exhausted, that's when I have to talk to myself. So that self-talk that we give to ourselves is so important. So for instance, if I'm about to get on the plane, I say to myself, well, I'm going to enjoy the passengers, and the passengers are certainly going to enjoy me. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a blast. I'm going to enjoy this flight, especially when I'm jet lagged. So that's just one example. Another one is if I know something is going to annoy me so much, try to find some humor in it. Try to find some, make it funny, because otherwise the worst of us can come out.
Absolutely. I love that. Finding the humor in something that annoys you. Can I ask, what's an example of finding the humor?
So for instance, say for example, someone is about to do something or say something that annoys you. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh my God, that's quite interesting, actually. That's quite interesting, actually. I don't think it's interesting deep down, but I'll say it's interesting. Just so I don't get pissed.
Got it. So giving yourself the little pause button of that's so interesting. I love it.
Just to give yourself that moment where you're not reacting, but rather you're responding.
Yeah.
So you're in control.
Great. I love it. That's amazing. Oh my goodness. It has been such a treat to chat with you today. And I have one more question, the question that I ask everyone at the end of the podcast. And that is, what is your secret to creativity?
My secret? Well, I think I gave it away. I always connect with me.
Seriously,
I am so big on self-discovery. It's one of my passions. I love connecting with me because I know that for as long as I connect with me, I'm going to find the creativity in everything. I'm going to be able to navigate anything with lightness, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But that's my biggest secret, connecting with myself.
I love that. And what a great reminder. Connect with yourself, especially as we head into the holidays and navigating a pandemic as it continues. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about the pieces you offer, find your books, how would they go about doing that?
Yes. Well, they can go to www.auraemartinez.com. There they will learn about me. They will know how they can reach me, the books that I offer, the courses that I offer. They can also follow me on Facebook, Aura E. Martinez Coach.
Nice.
Follow me on Instagram, Aura Elena Martinez. And I have to share this if you don't mind. There's this private Facebook group. It's called Inner Globetrotters. Oh my God, it's such a treat. It's such a treat because they don't only learn from me, but they also learn from other experts that I bring in. I mean, really, it's all about inner journey, growth, liberation. So
sounds amazing. I love it. And I love that title too. I will put all of this in show notes so everyone can just easily find you and click on those links. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. It has been such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be on your podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so like us on Facebook and Instagram. We are Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and your family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your comments, reviews, and questions. Tune in Tuesdays for a new episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.